Woo! Woo, woo, woo. Let's freaking go. I know my pregame show wasn't the absolute smoothest. I know it was the first time we have ever done a live stream on Power Hour SEC. But what I told you that was going to happen in this game has happened in this game. Now, I need some second half scoring from TCU for my parlay to hit, but your halftime score is Georgia 38, TCU 7, right? This is what the SEC is all about. And this is why these fairy tale college football stories are just never going to work. TCU caught every break, and I have been accused of being a Harbaugh hater. Jim Harbaugh is a really good coach, but my goodness gracious, how is he not prepared to play this team? Luck is eventually going to run out when you play all-time great programs like Georgia. And TCU caught a little bit of a bad break not playing Ohio State. Georgia, of course, is not under any close amounts of pressure that TCU was under heading into this game. You could tell TCU played with a lot of nerves. Max Hacksaw Duggan, our guy Tyler called him that before the game, has been awful. Even his big completion in this game was a severe underthrow. And Stetson Bennett and this Georgia offense continues to be undervalued in a very major way. And the scary thing is they're going to get the football to start the second half. Can you imagine scoring 38 points? No pick sixes, by the way, 38 offensive points, and you didn't even get the ball first. It's unbelievable. Georgia will cover it by themselves. Here's the problem, Charlie. I appreciate it. No more gas left in the hacksaw. Yes, Jim Harbaugh was not ready for this TCU team. And yeah, Marcus is correct. Tony is correct. Marcus got his package today. That's obviously great. TCU and Michigan less than Missouri. But yeah, Missouri did play this Georgia team close. But like I said, there was no way a Georgia defense was going to play bad in 3 consecutive games. And this Georgia offense is so freaking good. They're not 2019 LSU. They're not 2020 Alabama. But I would put them a little bit behind them in the conversation for one of the best college football offenses I've seen. They are a machine, and they are very different than those other 2 offenses because they do it with 2 tight ends on the field. It's honestly a thing of beauty watching their offense. Look, LSU's defense was really good this year. They had no answer. None. They put a 50 burger on us. It looks like we're the steel curtain. They put a 50 burger on us. It's scary. It's absolutely scary watching Georgia's offense. Now, if you do have an over ticket, I would be a little concerned. I understand you put up 45 in the first half. You only need 18 to get the over 62.5 here. But the truth here at the same time is, well, look, Kirby will call off the dogs. TCU is going to have to score some for you to get this over. I don't think Georgia's going to be able to get it on their own because Kirby has a soul. He will take the foot off the gas a little bit. And I think Georgia's defense will take the foot off the gas a little bit as well. Bullard looked like he was a little banged up there. So we're going to break down this from so many different angles. Now, first thing we're going to do is take a look at the first half statistics. And bada bing, bada boom. As you can see to the far right of your screen, we're going to zoom it in for you and bring it on down. The yard per play numbers, you guys know how important that stat is to me. Scrolling on up right here, and you'll see that Georgia is averaging 9.3 yards per play, which is absolutely absurd in a championship setting. And they will win this national championship game. The funny thing about it is TCU's run game hadn't really got going. 1.7 yards per rush. Georgia averaging 6.7 yards per rush. I think a lot of you are a little bored by this game. You're kind of ready to talk about what are they going to do next year. Joshua DeNova. Will Georgia's success continue in the next couple of years? We'll see. Obviously, the post-Stetson Bennett era is going to be interesting. I do think there's going to be some revisionist history about him not winning the Heisman this year. But, you know, it's crazy to think that people really thought TCU was going to win this game. And I have no disrespect to people who thought TCU was going to win this game. It's a fun story. But these fairy tale stories just don't end up happening hardly ever. It's hard to actually win that final game. Ask Croatia in the World Cup. Ask Morocco in the World Cup. Even though they got knocked out of the semis. It's hard. It's really hard to actually get every, star to align. And tonight, there are 5 stars on one side and 2 and 3 stars on the other. But, for me, Joshua, I think it will. They still recruit at the top 5 nationally. But, I will say this. One of my favorite sports betting analysts, Colin Wilson of the Action Network, has already put a bet in for LSU to win the national championship next year. So that's obviously a really good thing. So, yes, is Bowers leaving? He's 3 years out of high school. Unfortunately, he's not. He's only 2 years out of high school. So he's a true sophomore doing this. So, yeah, Georgia is an absolute juggernaut, and it seems unfair. Yeah, I mean, we're still a few years away off from getting to their level, but we're not far. We're not far off. Obviously, the championship game proved that we are a little bit behind, but I don't think we're far off. Obviously, Alabama's right there, and Ohio State's right there. Clearly, them playing a very competitive game, but we'll have plenty of time in the post-game show to discuss the future of the SEC. I do want to focus on the now. Stetson is playing amazing. He's been this way all year long. Todd Monken is still to this day the most undervalued offensive coordinator. His game versus Alabama was absolutely amazing last year when Stetson wasn't as good as he is now, when Stetson wasn't, old enough to rent out a limo. Did you know that? You got to be 25 to rent out a limo. I never knew that until or you have to be 25 to be a limo driver. But I use the soccer reference. I'm wearing a soccer hat right now. I want to show you guys this. Okay, so these are 3 screenshots from the first half. Okay, and one of these is from my buddy JP Acosta. This is Stetson Bennett's first rushing touchdown. Look at all the space. He essentially walked into the end zone. This is their second touchdown of the game. Not good where the ball is going. This is from JP Acosta. And this is the third touchdown of the game. And this right here will be the defining image of this game. Where quite literally, this image you're looking at right here on your screen right now, Power Hour SEC, Stetson Bennett could have turned around and ran backwards into this end zone. That is how clear of a lane this was on a simple quarterback sweep to the left. Okay. So, oh yeah. No offense. Just asking. It's all good, baby. 12-team playoff prevents this. Does it? I mean, I guess maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I would say the 12-team playoff increases the opportunity that you'll get more uncompetitive playoff games. However, it would be really cool to see Tulane in a 12-team playoff. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I do think as far as like a playoff is concerned, stretching out the playoff, does that prevent this from happening? I don't know. I don't know. Jim Mattress Mac of Houston bet a total of $3 million on TCU. I wonder how he feels. Yeah, he also made a lot of money off those World Series bets. But obviously that wasn't a whole lot of fun to watch. But I enjoy watching new innovative offenses. I really do. I love how diametrically different, but at the same time dominant Georgia is compared to our team in 2019, right? It's amazing. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat offensively, and Georgia is doing it in many different ways. So, yeah, it's very interesting. The price of mattresses are going up. Yeah, indeed they are, Skipper. But no, Jim Mattress Mac has won like a lot of these crazy bets. Now, a few more things about the first half of this game that I will discuss. There's going to be a lot of, hey, should TCU have been in the playoff to begin with after them losing, this first game? Were they really one of the four best teams? Well, they did beat Michigan, right? So no matter how you cut it, this is more on Michigan not getting the job done in the semifinal, and they did have some bad luck. They did get some bad whistles, but a lot of it was Harbaugh's horrible coaching. He's always been bad in these bowl games. And yeah, that a lot of breaks went TCU's favor throughout the course of the season. Also, the Big 12 just wasn't as great as it normally is, right? Like, Texas turned out to be frauds. Obviously, Oklahoma down year, no Lincoln. There, Nebraska bad. They got 2 shots at Kansas State. Kansas State gets ramroded by Alabama. The first time they beat Kansas State, they had the backup quarterback in. So, I just have a tough time, saying that TCU didn't deserve to be in, but there was a reason why that they weren't there. Now, why is Saban in the booth when they don't make it? Why is he always there? Well, a few reasons. Number one, he is a big star, right? Like, he is the greatest of all time. And, that moves the needle. Also, Nick Saban does a lot of like these ESPN breakdowns. If you are an LSU fan, I know a lot of LSU fans are watching this. I would highly recommend go look, if it's still on ESPN Plus, the detailed breakdown of Nick Saban breaking down our offense. It was really cool. And the third thing was there's a report out there that he almost left for ESPN after they lost to Clemson for the first time in the national championship game. So yeah, that's part of it. He has close ties to ESPN as well. Told them dogs would kick arse. Right, Rob? Me and you are on the same side of this. Rob's always right. Okay. Huh? 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 I don't think Michigan should have been there. Should have been 4 SEC teams. So, yeah, I mean, Michigan obviously deserved to be the 2. Georgia deserved to be the 1. TCU deserved to be the 3. And Ohio State deserved to be the 4, right? Alabama ended up being number 5. I don't think any of you wanted them there. So, yeah. We're going to keep it Georgia TCU. I know a lot of you have LSU questions. I might get into a few of them in the post game. But yeah, we got 55 people here on the halftime show. Really good stuff. For me, I think, I wanted to look this up really quickly. Let's see. Oh, no, you're not serious. Huh? 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 This might as well be the huh? Huh? Um, but yeah, so Gilbert Edmond, I know, I'll answer for you, Zane, why not? By the way, if you do have an actual Georgia TCU question, feel free to super chat. Um, I know a lot of my LSU people are over here as well. So, yeah, I think for me, obviously, you look at his numbers at South Carolina when he entered the portal. I saw a few tweets about him not necessarily being a difference maker overall for South Carolina. He was a single digit number, so obviously they think of him as a playmaker. Um, but yeah, I haven't really watched a whole lot of him today. I actually spent a good portion of my day looking at Deuce Chestnut. Um, the one thing I think the transfer portal is going to expose is a lot of analysts talking about players that they have not watched, right? And I'm always upfront when I haven't watched fully a player. I've not watched a whole lot of Edmond. Um, I mostly just spent time watching these games that Deuce Chestnut has played, and he's a solid player, right? Um, so yeah, I've not watched him. Okay. No team with a below 50% blue chip ratio has never won a national championship. No team with below a 50% blue chip ratio will never win a national championship. Agreed to a certain extent. Like, especially now with an expanded playoff field, it's going to be harder for them. And for those that don't know what a blue chip ratio is, it is the percentage of 4-star or better players you have on your roster. So let's say you have 80 players on your roster, okay? 80 scholarship guys, and 60 of them are 4-star or better players. So that means what? 3 out of every 4 players on your roster is a 4-star or better. They're a blue chip player. So that means your blue chip ratio is 75%. LSU's is normally around there, a little bit less than that. And Alabama's is normally like in the 80s. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. The blue chip ratio. Now, type Y for yes, type in for no. Did you see my tweet yesterday about how freaking good 247 was at rating the 2020 recruiting class? I want to show you this, okay? If you don't mind me showing another tweet of mine really quickly, okay? This is going to blow your mind. And it's not always this accurate, but it's normally pretty accurate, okay? This right here, okay, is going to and Rob said he saw it, so I'll show it for everyone else. So this right here is the mock NFL draft from a website called Tankathon, okay? And they did this mock draft yesterday, okay? So every year there are only 32 5-star players, or roughly anywhere from 30 to 38 5-star players in every class. So in the 2020 recruiting class, there was 32 5-star players. Now, I want you to notice the red check mark are the 5-star players from 2020. Okay. So notice here Will Anderson, 5-star, Bryce Young, 5-star, Jalen Carter, 5-star, Miles Murphy, Brian Breesy, Keely Ringo, and Paris Johnson. Okay. Now we go over here Broderick Jones, Michael Mayer, Trenton Smith, JSN, Kayshawn, Bijan Robinson. Okay. So, of the 24 first round selections, 13 of them were 5-star recruits from the class of 2020. So, in other words, their prime year coming out of their third year of college. Okay. What the blue line represents is a 2020 top 125 player. So, CJ Stroud, Quentin Johnston, who you're watching right now, Peter Skoronowski, Brian Branch, very good safety. That's who Josh Williams pancaked in overtime. Clark Phillips, Jahmyr Gibbs of Alabama, and B.J. Ojolari. So, what does this tell you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So 20 of these 31 first-round selections. Okay, remember, the Dolphins don't have a pick. They had to forfeit it from the Brian Flores scandal. So 7, that is a ridiculous number that 247 got correct. That is the top 125 players. That is ridiculously accurate. So it normally looks like this is obviously very extreme. The accuracy here is just insane. And it's all the recruiting services. So what does this mean? You got to get the 5 stars, right? You've got to get the 5 stars. You've got to get as many top 100 to 125 guys. And if you get those guys, the Lance Hurds, the Deshaun Womax, those guys will be on here in a few years if things go the way you expect them to. It is truly insane how accurate they were for this cycle. And you see the team that has more of these guys is beating down the team that has less. Now, does Georgia have some guys playing right now that weren't 5 stars? Yeah, Ladd McConkey. Obviously, Stetson Bennett wasn't a 5-star, but Cedric Van Pran Granger, their star center, is a top 100 recruit from New Orleans. Their team is mostly 5 stars and high-level 4 stars. So, yes, it's absolutely insane how accurate they are. Now, I know this isn't very compelling, but let me know when the second half starts, because obviously I can't tell from where I'm sitting. I don't have a TV in this room because I want to focus in here. I'll normally watch a game on my phone. Let's see here. Is Bennett the best QB in Georgia history? I like the way he plays. Great story as well. Well, he'll be remembered as the best quarterback in Georgia history. A Heisman finalist, 2-time national champion. But I'll say this: I met Aaron Murray at the SEC championship game. He is an extremely humble guy, and he said that Stetson Bennett is the best quarterback in Georgia history. Before this year, it was either Aaron Murray or Matthew Stafford. Obviously, Stafford is a better talent. And I'll say this. I know it doesn't come off great, but the truth is we are very lucky we did not play Georgia in 2007, and we got Tennessee instead of Georgia because that team was good. God, they were good. They were so freaking good. So, second half has started. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Are you coming to the post game? Type Y for yes. If you're coming to hang out for the post game, type in for no. For my PHLers, we'll have our normal live stream tomorrow. And let me know in the chat. It's going to be a lot of fun. Type Y for yes. Type in for no if you're going to come to the post game. I know Max is going to be there. I didn't need to know your answer. So we'll see you then. Okay? It is Power Hour SEC. Bah! And tonight, we're doing chicken quesadillas. Or actually, it's steak quesadillas. Let's go.